So today I got some new rigger brushes in the mail, and don't they look a little bit funny there for rigger brushes, you might think. And look, in terms of innovation with art materials, it's rare to see much in that sort of field, given that there's lots of tried and tested designs, materials, things like that have worked for hundreds of years. But these set of brushes here, I've definitely never seen this design before. And they're basically a modified rigger brush. So a rigger brush is a thin brush, and this is an example here of a normal rigger brush. It's very thin. It's good for, lining, line work, very detailed work, getting in branches, things like that. But the difference with these is that these have a large reservoir here. So that's going to hold a ton of paint. And if you have used normal rigger before, you're going to know, obviously how annoying it is to have to continually reload, paint, reload, and paint, because generally speaking, these rigger brushes just hold almost no paint. So I find having to go back and forth, your painting starts to dry, or you get the mix incorrect and you go in with a bit more of a watery mix, or maybe with too much paint. So I really like the idea here of this reservoir. So this is a 4-brush set that come in this box. I also have some of their other brushes here. So these are a couple of their squirrel hair mop brushes. Fantastic. They hold a fine point, a ton of water. And also I have some of their travel brushes. So these ones here that have this detachable handles, these detachable handles here, and you can basically, screw them back in, turn the brush around. Just let me show you. Basically pop them in like that, screw them in. So they make a great little travel set if you're on the road. When the tips of these brushes, especially round brushes, wear out, they become almost useless because you can't detail, you can't cut around shapes. With all these golden maple brushes that I've received in the past, I use them constantly, all the time to paint different scenes, and they've held up very well. I think it's about a year since I've been using these ones. So it looks like these rigger brushes are best for watercolor and gouache, just due to the design of the reservoir. If you're using it for something like acrylics or oils, I don't think there'd be much of a difference compared to a normal rigger, given the thicker medium is not going to travel down through gravity. So definitely more aimed towards watercolorists. So basically you get these 4 brushes in this set. So you've got a number 4, number 12, number 8, and an 18 here. And the relative size of the rigger tip increases as you go up brush sizes, but actually, from maybe the third largest to the second largest to the largest, not a big difference there. It's more so, when you go from the smallest to the largest tip. I like the quality of the handles as well. So they seem to be made of solid wood. They don't have any of that nasty paint or thick kind of varnishing or lacquer on it, which, if it's not good quality lacquer, it tends to crack, split. So it can be very hit and miss. I've got so many examples of brushes that have split. So you can see here on this brush, I'm going to bring it up a bit closer. You can see here there's some splits already appearing down the side. So the water gets in there, warps the brush, makes it awkward to hold because it's bent, and also doesn't look very nice. The ferrules also appear to be nickel-coated brass. So pretty standard with most paintbrushes, but it's strong, corrosion resistant. In terms of what the brushes are made of, I had a look at the Golden Maple website. It appears that they are using sable hair for the inner core of the brush, so the actual rigger part of the brush, whilst the outer reservoir seems to be made from some type of animal hair. All right, so I want to do a comparison between a normal rigger brush here to the left and the Golden Maple rigger. This is the number 8. It's not even the largest version of this brush. You've got 2 sizes that are bigger. There's a number 12 and a number 18, but I thought I'd choose the number 8 because, that actual tip, the rigger tip area in the center, is roughly the same length, and It's actually smaller on the golden maple, but it's the closest that I can approximate. So I think this is more of a fair comparison rather than put it up against something like that, which is going to last absolutely forever. Let's pick up this paint here. I'm just saturating both brushes as much as I can. And let's go through the center of the scene to create some marks. And we'll see how long these brushes can last. So you can already see the rigger on the left, the normal rigger, is running out of paint, and you're creating lighter brush strokes compared to the golden maple rigger. It's pretty much run out of paint already. It's still producing some marks, but see if I can change the angle of the brush. No, that's not really helping. Yep, so that's gone. The rigger to the left has pretty much exhausted its entire reservoir, even down to that second line there. But even on the first line, you can see it just gets lighter and lighter, whereas the brush strokes here with this other rigger, they're creating the same marks and also of the same darkness as well. I mean, how many lines is this? This is like 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th line, whereas the other rigger just ran out after one line, essentially. So it's looking to get around 6 times the amount of brush strokes, or holding 6 times the amount of paint than a normal rigger brush, which is pretty incredible. I mean, look at that, it's still going. It appears to be running out of paint slowly, so the brush strokes are getting more and more lighter as I continue on, and also a bit of dry brush as well. But it's still going. It's basically still going. This is what the other brush looked like at the end of the first line. So, I mean, in terms of mileage, and keep on going really. In terms of mileage, you're going to get at least 8 times the mileage out of compared to a normal rigger brush, which is very impressive. I want to do some little paintings with it, and let's see how we go. Maybe not paintings, but let's say some little sketches, and let's see if I can get in a whole scene, a whole little sketch with this brush. And let's carry this down, moving across here, kind of a bit of this part in the back. Just doing a bit of a 1-point perspective scene, maybe. And it's kind of, I realize this is a new use that you can have for these kind of brush. You can just draw almost like an ink pen of some sort. Windows. And I don't have to go back and reload. Let's put in some people. So I've got a person here. It's so strange because my muscle memory just telling me to go and reload the brush. But at the same time, I'm not running out of juice. So it's continuing on. It's the strangest sort of feeling. I'm just doing a little, and I might even consider using this to kind of create a preliminary sketch. You know, instead of using pencil in a scene, let's put some little shadows maybe running to the right, like that. And I'll try to use the belly of the brush, there we go, to get in some shadow inside, for instance. That's just with one kind of loading of the brush. And keep in mind, I mean, Melbourne today is very hot. It's about 35 degrees Celsius today. So things are drying, and it's pretty hot in my apartment as well. So things are drying quite quickly. Let's see if I can just make up another sort of scene. it just feels so nimble when you're drawing with this thing. I can get real close as well and get in some tiny little details. Maybe get in like some tree branches, just, I don't know, just to play around with some of this stuff. Okay. It's amazing how much detail you can get in. This is going to be great for like little work like this, sort of at the end of a scene where you're putting in bits of details, railings, chimneys and stuff on rooftops, little, thatching or uh, directional lines on the roof or the buildings, little perspective lines as well. That's going to be excellent to sort of play around with. Let's try and get in some other shapes. So I'm going to try to do maybe a mountain of some sort. I'm going to mix some green in with this purple. Let's see how I can maybe do this. Drop it down here. Let's see if I can get in kind of like a mountainous area. I'm using the side of the brush as well. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, so I can get in this sort of indication of maybe some snow-tipped, snowy little edges, I guess. Reload again. Drop that in here. Okay. Wow. Tell you what, it creates some interesting different textures in here that you wouldn't normally get if you're just using a usual brush. Let's try that one more time. Maybe like a smaller one here. Trying to get the brush to skip over the paper. It's tricky because I don't have rough paper or hot press paper, cold press paper at the moment. But the rigger here on top seems to sort of run over the part of the paper. It's kind of like another mountain. Probably not the best example. And you can kind of thin it off at the end as well with the rigger brush. If you want to bring the mountain down. Maybe I can put in a tree or something here. Oh wow, look at that. Really nice crisp line running through. It's important when you're painting wet into wet to have these kind of a brush that has a very sturdy tip that doesn't wiggle around. Yeah, so it holds the paint, and the line, even though it's wet into wet, you can still see that line work pretty easily. Let's see if I can maybe do a leaf or something. I'm just seeing how else I can use this brush. And I don't know if it's actually meant to be used with the bottom part, but I can maybe do a leaf or something here, kind of. Let's see. Mind you, I'm not really oh, there you go. That's sort of a leaf, isn't it? That could be a leaf, and then that can be a branch or something like that. So there's some interesting shapes that you can create. If you move the brush, yeah, kind of like on a weird little angle like that, you can create some contrast. Oh, look at that. You can go back into it with the tip and detail a bit more. Let's try it kind of going up here. Wow. That's really cool. I tell you what, I didn't expect to have this much fun playing around with this brush. And it saves a lot of time if you're someone that paints florals or plants. Definitely with these, you can get in these leaves quite easily. I want to continue along and try this again with a few other bits and pieces. Maybe I can see if I can paint an entire scene with it. Let me just try a little street scene. It's going to be almost impossible, I think, because of the way but let's have a try anyway. So just the same scene I had before. Maybe, yeah, there we go. Oh, it's actually not too bad. Maybe we can just start moving this across down here. Okay. The difficulty is kind of making sure the tip of that rigger brush isn't kind of creating lines where you don't want it to create lines, and you're trying to also use the bottom of the brush. Okay, there we have it. Make the roof a little bit darker. And this is just a quick sketch. Mind you, not even trying to get in much detail. Just put in some quick little windows for this imaginary building here. Oh, let me just extend it down some more. Because the rigger has so much paint in it, you can do this so easily by just bringing that building further down by just coloring it in with the tip. It's like having a marker. That's the only probably thing I can describe it as. It's like having like a fine tip marker. So if you're someone that likes using markers, I think this is going to be a game changer for sure. Get some of this railing or whatever here on the side or something. Let's try to we'll try to get in some shadow, like another shadow shape maybe coming in here. Okay, good. Good. These would be tricky. I was trying to do some doors. Little doors at the base of this building. Again, very quick and just sketches. Maybe like a chimney here. Little chimney here. Let's get in some people. Can I do this? Let's try. There you go. There's a person kind of walking into the scene there. Trying to go over the areas where there's I guess less paint, so these people will look more kind of come out of the darkness a bit. It's really quite basic. This is really surprising. I'm enjoying this, and I like this new style that it seems to be lending itself to. Just with one brush, I'm creating a bit of an interesting looking scene here. It's like an ink drawing. So if you're someone that does calligraphy or uses, those dip pens, I really think this is a great little alternative. And with watercolors, you just get more kind of variety in the kind of marks, the paper, and being able to get different consistencies and different colors as well with ease. So, wow. And I'll use this the largest rigger brush of the lot, which is a number 18, to draw in another sort of scene. Okay, kind of a little street scene. Let's go. I don't think I'm going to need to really reload this one that much. Bit of a chimney here. This has some shadow in it. A bit of shadow underneath here. I'm really just drawing with the brush, almost as if I would with a pencil or some sort. Darkness behind there. Here. Okay. That's down. And maybe we can have some kind of a larger building out here. Just using purple. Surprisingly easy to paint in large areas. The only concern is the top area here. You just, because that tip sticks out, you can overshoot your mark. I draw something here. This can be maybe a tram of some sort. Let's just do this. It's a impression of a tram maybe running through this area. and I'll have a bit of shadow behind that. Yep. Like this. Some little windows on the buildings here on the back. Look at that. Get in some shadows running across. I'll tell you what, it's not bad for a little sketching device, and I think if you just use the tip of it, you're going to get some very interesting results, almost like an ink drawing type of scene if you only, of course, use this brush and the tip of it as well. Very versatile brush. I mean, I'm genuinely surprised. I'm genuinely surprised at this. Definitely not a gimmick. That's what I was thinking initially when I received this thing. Look at that. Okay, so some considerations if you're thinking about getting this rigger brush set. So yeah, basically not sure if you need 4 of these rigger brushes. I mean, 2 would be sufficient for me, maybe one of the larger ones and one of the smaller ones. But yeah, I get that might be handy for some people who like to paint very small or very large. So yeah, it's good that you've got a decent selection. And the second consideration is I really wish that Golden Maple would make a portable set of these, kind of like this here with the brass ampules. It's just going to make it a lot more convenient when traveling around. As you can see, the brushes are pretty long, so they're more so for use at home. They will be a little bit tricky to carry around. And overall, you know, it's just such a simple idea, but genius at the same time. And I often avoid rigger brushes as, you know, you're having to reload, mix the right amount of paint. I tend to get lazy and just pick up, a larger flat brush and use the edge to try to detail right at the end. But yeah, with this new design, with that larger belly there as well, it's just going to be a game changer. I'm not going to have to continue to reload. So I think I'm going to be also able to detail my paintings more. I'm going to feel bothered to do so and create more consistent looking effects in my paintings as well, because if you have to keep on reloading, coming back, reloading, coming back, 1, the painting starts to dry, and 2, you then have to run into the issue of mixing the right quantity of paint. So yeah, I think overall, you know, the quality as well is excellent for the price. The construction, like I mentioned before, it's using proper solid wood here, brass, ferrules, and you know, you've got sable and animal hair for the construction of the tips. From my experience of using these golden maple brushes, you know, I've got a whole bunch of them that I carry around with me and use at home. They are really durable. They hold a point for a long time. I've used them for over a year now, and yeah, essential to really detail, to have a fine point to cut around shapes. And you don't want to continually keep having to buy new brushes when you have some of those, especially those cheap synthetic brushes. Yeah, the point just wears out within a few months and you end up having to buy new ones. So yeah, I think this is really the perfect rigger set for watercolorists. I like that you can create some unique shapes by using the belly of the brush too. So if you're interested in getting some of these, go ahead and check out the link in the video description. If you have questions as well about this brush set, just let me know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like and send it to someone that might find it useful. And if you want to see more watercolor workshops and art material reviews, make sure you subscribe.